unexplainable. Never need a match. It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. So intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable.
Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome to his
and her perspective.
Here at His and Her Perspective, we find common ground to harmonize relationships. And we do that by having conversations like we're going to have today. Hello, brother.
Greetings, sis. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm well. Life is good.
It is. It is absolutely an amazing day, and I'm glad to be here. So listen, y'all, we haven't seen y'all in 2 weeks.
It's been a long time.
I miss you, brother. I miss y'all. Where y'all at? Are y'all out there? I only see one like. Who didn't give us a heart? Who didn't do that? Shame.
I see Denise Dentley. Happy Sunday. How you doing, sis?
Hey, Denise, how are you? How you doing over there? Come on, give us some hearts. Give us some hearts over there. Y'all come on in. Let us know who you are and where you are tapping in from so that we can say hello. Today, we're going to have an amazing conversation. This is good, y'all. If y'all haven't already, please share. If you need to subscribe to our pages, make sure that you're doing that, subscribing to all of our pages, Vaun-The Alchemist on all social media platforms, TikTok included, His and Her Perspective on YouTube, as well as Instagram and TikTok, and Coach Michelamonè on all social media platforms, TikTok included, and ATR on all social media platforms. Make sure that you are sharing, subscribing, and saying something to us, hitting the red bell on the YouTube pages so that you can get notification of any of the shows that we have upcoming. Make sure that you like the ATR page because there's a lot of other good stuff that is going on over there, finances and politics and all that good stuff. So go over, make sure that you are liking that page as well. So, brother, how has your week been?
It's been good. You know, I've been fighting this monkey, trying to get this monkey off my back. You know, this little cold that I've been having, and I'm doing a whole lot better now than I was the last time we were live. So
yeah, I'm happy about that. Good
how's
stuff.
yours?
Mine has been really good. I've been really good. I was able to hang out with my daughter yesterday. Today's my son's birthday. He's missing in action, but that's okay. We're gonna hang out with him next week, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Austin came in over here. We got Denise. Thank you so much for telling us how you doing. We're from the Windy City, Chi-Town in the house. Hey, Desi, how are you, sis? Lovely.
It's my lovely wife.
Yes. So listen, today we're going to talk about denim and diamonds. Y'all see my diamonds over there? Talk about the denim and diamonds. Is love enough to bridge the class gap? Now, this is interesting. Very interesting, y'all, because I don't think that people really talk about this. So much so that when I was doing research for this show, I didn't realize there was so many articles and different surveys and research going on about this.
Yeah,
they call it cross class relationships.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing.
I knew people did it, but I thought it was primarily done, from men to women. I didn't realize how much women actually did it.
Yeah. I didn't. I mean, I think that I kind of thought that it was kind of a. I didn't think it was a thing. I really didn't. I didn't think that it was something that people actually had discussions about. Only because I guess I never looked at anybody's money as a thing. I never really cared in that manner, if you will. Of course, you want to make sure that you're with somebody that can pay the bills with you and things of that sort. But people actually have a thing, so much so that there's people are they say that there's a brief research done that 56% of middle class and upper class adults are married, but among working class and lower class adults that number is between 26 and 39%, and that's because people in the US are increasingly unlikely to date and marry outside of their own social class.
Yeah.
I
You
didn't know.
know,
I had no idea.
many people argue that women are naturally hypergamous, meaning they want to naturally level up or marry into a higher social class or with greater financial access, etc. Do you think that women, and I guess I'll pose this question to the family too. Do you think that women are naturally hypergamous, not conditioned to be, but naturally hypergamous?
I mean, I'm a unicorn, so I'm gonna say no. Because I don't think that way. But again, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've never had to have a man take care of me. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
kind of like I've never been in that position where I needed somebody to take care of me. I always had my own money. I always was able to provide for myself and do very well. So I never really had that. So Denise says she doesn't think so.
Denise said
Okay.
she doesn't think so. I mean, there are a lot of people who are arguing this point that women are naturally hypergamous, but I don't think so either. I
Yeah.
think we live in an imbalanced society. That society is so imbalanced, and that it has created such a divide, a wealth divide, and that's I mean a financial divide between men and women, that the natural response to that is to try to put yourself in as good a financial position as you can.
Right.
So I think the response is natural, but I don't think that it's in the nature of the human being to necessarily be hypergamous.
Right. I don't think so either. Hey James, how you doing? He said for him personally, no, he doesn't think so either. So
Yeah,
that's a male and a female perspective on the in our family over here.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that society, things like social media, things like the reality TV, I think that those are the types of things that has created this dynamic where there's even a conversation even being had about it.
now here's our brother Yarley. He's at the bakery. What up,
Hey,
Yarley?
Riley, how you doing?
What we talking about is denim and diamonds. The go ahead, sis. You know how to do it better than me.
So our topic today is denim and diamonds, and now I'll put it back up for those who are just coming in. It is denim and diamonds is love enough to bridge the class gap. And so we're talking about cross class relationships, those relationships that people are having where either the man has married up class wise or the woman has married up class wise, or the opposite, where the man or the woman is marrying down or relating down, because some people are just, they're not, everybody's not married. So whoever you're in a relationship with, somebody's making more money or less money than you, and it's kind of a thing. We didn't know, we had no idea.
You
So
know,
that's what we're discussing.
and then let me throw this in there, Yarley. I asked the question: are women naturally hypergamous? So that was the question that was just on the table right before you popped in.
Yeah, he keeps using these big words I don't know about, but that's okay. He told me what it was because he saw the look on my face. So
Yeah, I looked it up right before we came on the show, so I tried to
oh,
figure.
what's that? Is that you, me?
Can you hear me? Testing, testing. Can y'all hear me?
Ooh,
That's you.
that's me? I didn't
Yep,
do anything.
that little chime. Can y'all hear us good? Give us a mic check. Can y'all hear us? Does our mic sound nice? Let me know. Let me know. There you go. You muted, coach.
I just muted myself. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's just very low, and I hear this ringing. Do you hear the ringing?
No.
Okay, it's probably on my end. Something's happening over here. Anyway, let's move on. So
Denise,
yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Denise says getting feedback. I don't even remember. I lost my train of thought. I don't remember. What were we talking about? I think we were
I
just
don't.
talking early at the speed.
I don't. I can't hardly hear you now.
Hold on. You can't hear me?
Mm-mm. It's really, really low.
Hmm. Maybe I need to talk louder. Denise says we're getting feedback. I don't know. I don't know if I should go out and come back in. Coach Vaughn is very faint. Why am I faint?
Right.
Okay. Should I go out and come back in?
Yeah, try that.
Let me see if I turn my mic off. Let's see. Audio.
Yep, it's you. I just muted you, and then when I muted you, it went away.
All right. How about now?
Gotcha. There you go.
There we
Gotcha.
go.
Thank you so much, Denise and James. We appreciate that. Appreciate that.
She just glad it wasn't her this time. That's all. It's always her.
Whatever. Denise says, I love a man with good work ethic, but don't care about the type of work or even so much income level. I like that, Denise, because that's how I feel. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? What do you feel about that? You know, I know you've been married for a very long time, and I know that, I know how you feel about. Just tell people how you feel.
I thought you was gonna frame it for me so I could just walk right on into it.
I was trying not to steer.
You know what? I think that like people are people, right? So I don't think it matters what the gender is. Some people are just going to look for whatever advantages they can get.
Yeah.
So my wife has been with me since I worked at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Now she could have easily been like, "Oh man, you a buster. All you making is $3.35 an hour." I just told on myself that's what minimum wage was back in the day. $3.35 an hour, and that's what I was making. And she didn't care.
Yeah.
All she cared was that I treat her good and bring her some tacos. Right.
And look what she had now.
And now she living a good life.
She lived a good life. See, that's the thing, whether it's the male or the female, because some people have these cross class relationships where, it's not traditional in the sense, right?
Yeah.
So, we have some people who the woman is the breadwinner. It happens, whatever rocks in your boat, hey, go with it. If you like it, I love it, So some people feel like if I meet you here and then, you have the potential, then let's rock until you come up to here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel. I feel like I don't have a problem with rocking with somebody. Now, at 51, maybe a little bit more. So you got to be stable. You can't be finding your way, because I ain't a cougar. So I'm not going to be dating somebody my son's age. So you can't be finding your way when you meet me. But I don't, I'm kind of like the person that if we have to come together to do it, I'm okay with that. And some people, like I've heard people on social media talking about that it's a simp who is not taking care of his household, where the woman has to meet 50-50. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I wouldn't call him a simp. No, I mean, we're living in a time now where it's not what it used to be. So there was a time where women couldn't work, where women couldn't earn. And now we're in a time where there are a lot of women that are out earning men. So if my wife was out earning me, would I still just tote the note for everything and then allow her to we make some agreement that she keeps all of her money? So my money is our money, but her money is her money. I hear a lot of people promoting that.
Yeah.
And that don't resonate with me.
Yeah.
So if we flip that and she's making more than me, she drives a Benz while I drive an Escort, you know what I mean? Or while I drive a Pacer, or you know what I mean?
You didn't make Escorts anymore.
You get the point though, right? So I'm saying there are a lot of people, and I look, I was coaching a couple that she made more money than him. He's a firefighter, okay. And she was a head nurse. And she had been doing this for like better than 20 years. So I think she was well into the six figures with whatever she was doing. And he was sub 6. Okay. And he paid for everything, all the bills, and she got to keep all of her money.
Wow. And
that just didn't make sense to me. Like I the way I see it, and I guess a lot of people would argue with me, but the way I see it, the way we've always done it,
everything is everybody's. We put it all in the pot. Like I got my own little spinning change over here. She got her own little spinning change over there. But everything that comes into the house is really everybody's, and we go from there.
Yeah.
So do I think he's a slip if he's sharing 50-50? No, I mean, because these days, people are doing it. Look, there are some women, for instance, like my wife enjoys being home support, housewife. She's always enjoyed that part. But there are some women who just absolutely cannot and will not do that. Some women have to be in the career field, doing whatever it is that they're passionate about outside the home. So she's going to generate her own income, etc. So should she not contribute part of what she's earning? I don't think that's right if she don't.
I don't think that's right either. And so then if something happens, now that's where you have people feeling like, well, man, you haven't contributed anything, and now you get to walk away with everything, with all your money intact. So I want to go back to this. You mentioned a few moments ago about there was a time when women couldn't work. And there was a time when women where it was illegal for women not to work. During the time when our men were off to the war, okay, they were giving stipends to all of the spouses of the soldiers, both white and black, right? So what was happening is the black women who were generally working in the white homes as help were feeling like, wait a minute, but I'm getting a little bit more money from my husband's stipend. I'm going to kick it at home and take care of these babies, right? So they started having less workers in the white homes, and they went to these commissioners. It started out, I can't think of what city this was in where it started, because I don't have the whole part of this newspaper because it cut it off. But they went to the commissioner, they went to the mayor, they trying to put in all these ordinances and everything, and made it that the black woman had to go to work, and it was illegal for her to stay home with her children.
Just the black woman?
Just the black woman. Wow. Because they didn't have enough. It says, regardless of whether they want to or have to, able-bodied Negro women, Greenville, South Carolina. In Greenville, who are not regularly employed are to be put to work, put in jail, or fined heavily. Wow. So I think that, stuff like this lends to those types of things, down the road that we don't know about. Things like, I posted some information about how the CIA had implanted a female Kevin Samuels. Yep. Back in the day. And during the feminist movement, y'all check out my page for that. On my page for that. It's deep because it shows how these different things have been put against us to keep us separate. So all this, concern about how much money he's making, or if he ain't making six figures, I don't want to talk to him, or, she needs to be doing this, or all of these different things are dynamics and narratives that we didn't create ourselves. So, check those things out. Kind of dropping a little bit of nuggets. Yeah. So, let's see. James, did you post any of these? I don't know.
No, I just posted a hello or two.
Okay, let's see.
Denise, there's a question from Denise. No, not that one.
Yeah, we saw. Okay, so Yarley says no, because women traditionally married up, they are naturally hypergamous because women go to the biggest and strongest males for reproduction, security, and provision. Social media and reality TV distorts this concept exponentially. That's true. I believe that.
Okay.
Derek says, peace and love. Hey, Derek, how you doing? Here's a question. What happens when one of you has a drastic change, drop in income, or a situation? That happens.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like, I don't have a problem with a man we are 50-50. That's the thing. But what if he lost his income? You know what I'm saying? That happened to me in my third marriage where he was making over $100,000 a year, and all of a sudden they had a situation where there's an injury happened and he got taken out of his job and couldn't go back. So that $100,000 plus income was gone. You know, what do you, I didn't go, oh, this is money. This, my money is my money. I'm making over 100,000 too. You can't come. No, I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? We had to make some provisions and do a little bit less of things that we were doing, but I'm not going to look at him or shun him because of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's difficult in some cases because people want to take little pieces from different aspects of our culture and kind of piece it together into their own little puzzle. And I get that, but so our culture is there's so many splinters, so many branches of it, and nothing is really settled as this is how men do it, this is how women do it, and that's just what it is. So you have some people who demand 50-50, whereas you have other people who say, well, my wife will never work a day in her life, you know, and in the wrong scenario, that's an oppressive idea, or oppressive ideology, because some women actually want to work.
Right.
Whereas in another scenario, like, I don't want my wife to work outside the home. She just so happens to appreciate not working outside the home, but rather working inside of the home in the interest of what we have going on. So that works. It only works if you have a shared ideology. Right. And in this society, that's a little bit difficult because there's so many moving parts and people have so many different ideas. And there's so many reasons that we're finding difficulty coming together as opposed to understanding the bigger reason for us coming together. So right now, I use some chess ideology, right? So when we look at the chessboard, the queen is the most important piece, but the king is the most powerful piece, right? Check this out. There's been a whole lot of divide and conquer with us, right? Now, I don't want to question the motive because I don't know their motive, but Goldman Sachs. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but you know that Goldman Sachs has been around for a very, very long time. And a lot of what has established their wealth is our ma'afa, our slave trade, our Holocaust. Goldman Sachs is now pouring $10 billion into Black women. Okay. $10 billion into Black women over the next 10 years, I believe it is. So here's the thing. If we knew how to parlay that, like I'm gonna get mine, right? Right. So my wife, the queen on my chessboard, I'm gonna put her out front and let her maneuver in ways that I can't quite maneuver, right? She gonna get our little piece of that little 10 billion, whatever that chunk is, and then we're gonna make that work for us.
Right.
But here's the point that I'm making. Right now, there's so much divide. We're talking about denim and diamonds, right?
Right.
This divide between Black men and women looks like it's about to be manufactured so that it increases.
Right.
It looks like they're sowing into the increasing of the divide between Black men and Black women. I don't know that, but that's my tinfoil hat. You know what I mean? You know how I do.
Right,
so
right.
I can't help but to think that they're contributing to, that's the word I'm looking for, contributing to the divide between Black men and Black women, unless you play chess. If you understand that the queen, if you understand the importance of the queen and how to maneuver her accordingly, then you can benefit from a system that looks to divide you and conquer you. But if you in your feelings, then you mad about the benefits that this society is giving her at your expense. And I think that to the point that you were making with this whole Gloria Steinem thing and the feminist movement, that was an effort to sow division amongst us. And in many regards, we fell for it.
Right.
And it has contributed to the divide between us. And I can't help but to think that this is an ongoing effort to do that. But I think we are in the position to capitalize on it better and make it And maybe that's not even what they mean. Regardless of that, we're in a position to take advantage of it if we move smart. What do you think about that?
The thing is that yeah, Goldman Sachs is now pouring that money in. They've been doing this. First, they did it with the women as overall, and then when Black Lives Matter hit, they started, filtering it more to Black women to kind of have their piece, right? But this is the thing. This has been going on for a long time with being able to be with the women business owned or the Black women business owned, where as long as there's 51% ownership in the Black woman, you now getting the women, you're able to get contracts and stuff because the woman is owning it and the Black woman is owning it. So now you're getting two feet in for where you didn't have one. But a lot of people, and I have to say it this way. A lot of men feel like, well, no, this is my business. I'm not putting her in the forefront. That is not wise. There is a purpose in that. So why not? If you know that you have a business and you know that you're able to get certain contracts and things, if you had your woman as 51%, and I understand this because some women get in there and get greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be like, well, fine, I'm the one that's 51%. Now what? No, we need to actually, what you said, yes, Denise, is kind of productive. It really is. And a lot of people are not paying attention to that, which is why she said this has to be talked about early on. And I do that with my clients. I have clients that are premarital. When we first get into our sessions, the first thing we're talking about is, let's talk about your money. Let's talk about what would happen. I give them a list of things, of everything from losing a child, from losing a job, losing a car, being put out of your house. What would you do?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're not thinking of that because we don't want to think about the what ifs or the bad part. No, you need to think about that so that when it comes up, then you know what to do. We do it with everything else. You take driver's ed, right? You get in driver's ed, what do? They sit you in front of these simulated movies, and they show you these crashes, and they tell you what to do. When you get a motorcycle license, any type of anything, they're going to prepare you for the what ifs. Why do we have a problem with preparing ourselves for the what ifs in the most important thing that we have in our life? You've heard Coach Vaun talk about all the time. 85 to 90% of your life, your whole overall happiness is dependent upon your personal romantic relationship. But we don't pay attention to that. We're too busy fighting each other on stupid remedial things. Who dropped the socks on the floor? Who didn't close the refrigerator? Why you drink my Pepsi? The stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure out how to come together for the betterment of our generations, because we only thinking about this week.
Yeah. These people, man, we've been looking for reparations for a long time in this country, right?
Yes.
And this ain't quite reparations, but if we parlay this thing right, you may never get reparations. I don't think that they're interested in giving reparations. Like I see little games that they play, like out in Evanston, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. They're giving some mock version of reparations, but it's really more like housing vouchers or home vouchers. So they play a lot of games, they dance around it, but they'll never give it to you in the name of what it really is supposed to be. But they do look to manipulate you and do things that if you don't catch on to it, if you're not hip to the game, then it'll be toward your demise. But this is a scenario, man. I wish they would put $10 billion out there, because like I said, my woman gonna be out there on the front line waving her flag. I'm a Black woman with my own Black business. You sure are. Go ahead,
right.
And
and that's the smart thing to do. If you know that there is an end, why not? But we're too busy competing against one another, even in relationships.
Yeah.
Than figuring out how we can come together in a better way. Yeah. So Yarley says, marrying into class often meant certain access comeuppance, is that your new word, Yardley, in societal hierarchy and social order. Business contacts work this way as well.
Yeah.
And then he says the destruction of the Black nuclear family will be televised.
Oh, it's being televised right now.
Come on. Okay, let's talk about that for a moment, because I have been watching, I binge watch on old movies, especially ones that have to do with relationships, because I want to see the dynamics of what they're putting out there to counter it. And what I mean by, we have been programmed, we have been channeled, we have been televisioned, all of these different things that they want us to do in our relationship. So I love seeing the fact that here we are in 2021, but I'm watching a show that's from the 1970s or the 1980s or the 1990s, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, they did a number on us.
Yeah.
They use Black celebrities such as Hemsley, what's his name? Sherman Hemsley and Louise and Jeffersons and the Sanford and Sons and the newer ones with the Marlon Wayans with My Wife and Kids. And some of the things that we are going through today, they talked about on these TV shows.
Give me an example.
For instance, I was watching, as a matter of fact, something we're talking about today, I was watching one of the shows, and Jay, the wife, she was a stockbroker. First she was a housewife. She decided that she was bored at home. She didn't want to be at home anymore. So she decided she's going to go out and get this job because she already had a degree. But she was choosing to be a housewife. So she went out and she became a stockbroker. She gets into a position where she gets fired from her job. She comes home, she's throwing a fit because she can't believe that she's being fired from her job. Her husband's all happy. He's sad that she lost her job, but he's behind her back going, yes, I've been wanting her home this whole time. But he was undermining. He was making it seem like her job didn't mean anything. And she was saying, well, but why do you keep talking about my job? I really love my job. It makes me who I am. So words like that, it's my identity. I am a stockbroker. And so at the end, then she figures out that because the boss comes back and tries to hire her back. She goes, no, I don't want to be hired back. She looks over at her family. She goes, no, that's who I am. So it was going back and forth of her identity wasn't with her family. Her identity was being in this corporation because she was beaten. She was the only Black woman in the where she was. So that was her identity. And then when she got kicked out of her identity, she fell back on what her real identity was, which was her family. So you have to hear, I'm gonna have to start writing some of this stuff down because I'm really listening to it. And it's some of the wording that they're using. And it's really, really subtle unless you have, gotten to the place where you realize what they've done already.
Yeah.
And then you start to listen. There was, things like listening to Louise and what's his name? Jefferson. George. Listening to how she says things like when they first moved into their apartment, and she's like, you over here thinking that you a big man, you just because you got a little bit of money, things like that. Or and it's like, it's okay. It was okay for Louise to tear into him and tear his manhood down, talk about how short he was and talk about how he needed his money to be a big man. Just, it's amazing some of the things that have been said in front of us on TV, and we're sitting there going, that's so funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. I'm sitting here like the whole time like this.
Well, now we're sitting here like that because we peeping game in reverse.
Yes.
But back then, we thought it was
funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disrespectful as hell, though.
Very disrespectful. The white guy, I can't think of his name, putting his arm on George's head.
Yeah. Oh.
You see these things and you want to go through the TV and shake somebody.
Yeah. OG Troy Null said, most TV shows about black families make the father look like the village idiot, like they can't function without their smarter wife. And,
Yeah.
In many regards, I've seen, I mean, even in the TV show that you're talking about, there would be scenarios where unless Weezy came up with this idea, or unless she, helped George to see things more clearly, right? And that's a concept that they keep on repeat. Even James from
Good Times.
Good Times, Florida was always the voice of reason, or his higher conscience, or like James was the muscle, but she was the brains. Right.
Oh, how about this? Did you even notice how he had more of a street slur talk, but she was the more proper one. She was the one that talked with a proper voice.
She was more educated.
She lived in the hood.
She was more educated than he was.
Yes, but they never said that she was more educated. They just, because I don't ever remember her ever going to school. But the sound in her voice, these are the subliminals that they have been passing on to us this whole time, with that.
Yeah.
Even how she dressed more sophisticated, and he was always in this t-shirt and these until they went out. You know what I'm saying? Different things that they did to make sure that they downplay the strength and the power of our black men and upplay the power and the strength of our black women to play it against each other. And it was continual. It is amazing. Y'all go back and if y'all watch the what they call it, the stupid tube, or what they call TV now.
The idiot box.
The idiot box. If y'all spend some time on Hulu or something, watch some of those shows so you can see, so you can really pay attention to the fact that we do not need to be fighting each other. For those women who watch us on the replay, for those, I don't think we have any, whoever, women that are just like, I don't need a man. Or if you know somebody that says that, I don't need a woman. You hear a man say, I'm done with these black women. Go back and watch some of these shows. Go back in the history of what has happened to us just within the last 30 years. We're not talking about slavery. Okay? We understand
subliminal programming.
Subliminal programming. Go back and look at how we have been programmed not to like each other, and so that we can now understand. Go look up Michelle Williams with the feminist movement under the CIA with what's her name? I forgot the white woman. Gloria Steinem. Go and look that stuff up so that you can understand that this is not us. This was planted into our communities the same way the drugs was.
This entertainment medium, like all these ideas that we've been entertained by, like we've been through so much, and we've seen so much dysfunction and so much pain that it has taken center stage in the form of our entertainment. And we embrace this entertainment so much that it actually has become a large part of our normal interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Right? So the insults, when I was growing up, me and the fellas, we used to call it capping. Like the capping has a different connotation now, but back then we used to call it capping or bagging on each other, and whoever could come up with the best put downs, then you were the man, and so demeaning each other is a sport.
Yeah.
Degrading each other is a sport. Degrading your natural attributes like skin color. Your mama's so black, ...
Yes, there you go. Playing the dozens.
Yeah, there you go, playing the dozen. That's another word for it. So there's just a whole lot of things that where our pain has been made into this entertainment industry. And it's hard for a lot of people. If you're not able to see with a third eye and listen with a third ear, right? Then you see this stuff as purely entertainment rather than for the programming that it actually is. And it's not until, here we are in our 40s and 50s looking at it in reverse saying, damn, they played us.
Yeah.
But not realizing that while you were in your 20s and in your 30s, that you were actually interacting with other people that you're supposed to be building with. You're interacting with them based on a lot of these stereotypes, a lot of this joking, a lot of this play. and we disregard each other and misuse each other in many ways, inspired by what we're entertained by. Watch this. There's this Japanese scientist, I talked about this before, Murioto or something like this, and he did this water test. And he spoke to these different, so he had 3 jars of water, right? 3 jars of water. And he spoke different words to each jar. He spoke kind words to one jar. He spoke foul words to another jar. And in the 3rd jar, he just completely neglected, left it alone, right? And then he froze the water and then analyzed the molecules under a microscope. Under the microscope, you could see the effect that kind words had, that bad words had, and that neglect had. So the frozen molecules from the water that he spoke kind words to, the molecules crystallized into beautiful shapes. Some of them look like snowflakes, just all of these beautiful designs and so on, right? Wow. In the one that he spoke harsh words to, I hate you, you make me sick, things like that, the water got dark, murky, the shapes of the molecules were distorted, and they look very unpleasant. And the same thing happened to these molecules when he played rock music or heavy metal music versus classical music on the one with the kind words. So classical music, like Beethoven and all that, had the same effect that kind words had. Wow. Heavy metal had the same effect that bad words or harsh words had. And then the one with neglect had a similar expression as the one that he spoke bad words to. Right? Because some may say that indifference is just as bad as negative treatment. Right? So here's the point. If we are 80% water, right? If we are 80% water, take a look at the effect that our music has had over the past, just in my lifetime. Let's just take my listening lifetime and say 45 years, right? Look at the music, Saving All My Love for You. It's a song about being a side piece. One of our favorite hits, right? Whitney Houston. Right. That's a jam. Right. Yeah. But we're talking about being a jump off, a side piece. Yeah. Then you got every what hip hop started out being versus what it morphed into. Yeah. Right. So when you come into the 80s, Too Short and Ice Cube, we've been blasting bitch hole rhetoric over the airwaves, over the radio waves for 30, 40 years now almost. Yeah. And so you can't refer to your women in an entertainment sense and in a partying sense categorically as bitches and hoes and then expect beautiful crystallized snowflake looking molecular shapes on the other side of that. Right? So what we get is really an expression of reaping what we've sown. Now we didn't do it, right? We just jammed to it. We didn't reject it. Right? We embraced many of us. It's just music, right? It's just entertainment. So much to the point that it used to be you used to call a black woman a bitch and you catch hell. Now it's so welcome that I hear black women calling each other as a term of endearment in many cases, in the same way we might use the N-word. Many of us might use the N-word. So I don't know. I mean, I could go on, but I think you get the
point. Even
when
Luther Vandross, he was talking to a man.
Oof.
That came out when that came out. That floored me because I used to love me some Luther. I was like, he was talking to men. In all his songs.
You say he was singing to a man.
He was singing to a man. Yes. And so right here, when Denise says, I'm not understanding how black women can enjoy the Housewives series of reality shows. It makes me so sad to see my sisters behave like this. How about this? Notice, pay attention. Every man that they bring on the show, I don't care who they are or who they're married to, they are the bad ones. They're the ones that's cheating. It has been said that Nene was cheating in the same breath of talking about her husband cheating, but they didn't go off on Nene. They went off on him. Talk about how we didn't watch Kenya be a butt hurt the whole time. Can't nobody stand Kenya. And as soon as her husband come in and treat her the same way she been treating everybody else, he's the bad guy. You know, the just all of this. Every man, the Sheree talking to the man in jail. Not Portia, the lawyer, her husband ended up going to jail. They depicted our men to be this low lives, even with making money. So it didn't matter the class, okay? It didn't matter the class and how our Black men have been depicted, or the Black family has been depicted. We see these people they are millionaires. And like you said, they acting a fool on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
They show us in the news, in the ghetto or the hood, acting a fool on TV.
Yep.
They show us in middle class to each other, business-wise, acting a fool. We need to understand that that's all that they keep showing about us versus us trying to look at the things that are working. We're so busy trying out everything and talking about everything that's not working with us. Let's talk about what is working and how to make those things that are not working work for us. And that's what you do when you go through coaching and you go through all these different phases and try to figure out how to take what's not working and build on that.
Yeah. Look, even when we got one of our first superheroes, we were looking forward to this guy, Hitchcock, right? Will Smith, the Black version of Superman, really is what it seemed like, but he was a drunk.
Yep.
Right. And the closer, look, the closer he got to that white woman, the weaker his powers were.
Yep.
And the farther away he got from her, the stronger he got. Right. Yeah. Stronger he became. So much so that his ultimate powers finally arrived when his ass was living on the moon. Right?
Ain't that something? That's something. Like, yeah. I have another video that I posted on my page, my personal page, of this white woman with a chocolate man, literally chocolate, like food chocolate. Mm. And so what she's doing is he's taking pieces of himself and giving it to her. And so I'm sitting there watching this, and it didn't dawn on me. I looked at some of the comments from the TikTok, and and one of the men said, "Man, he gave her everything but his heart." Mm. She cut off his fingertips and ate his fingertips. She cut off pieces of his rib, ate pieces of his rib. She cut off his toe. She was eating different pieces of him, taking pieces of him,
consuming him.
This white woman. And I am not prejudiced. I have, you know, how they say, I got some white friends. I got some white in my blood. My granddaddy was, you know, so I understand. I'm not that. I was married to a white man. I'm not that. But I still believe that we need to pay attention to what is happening to our community. There is not enough of us. They are trying to tear us apart, keep us apart so that we don't create more of us. Do you know that it takes anywhere from 6 to 7 generations once we mix to get us out completely of the bloodstream?
Wow.
So if people start mixing and matching, right? You got the kids, your grandkids, the great grandkids. By the time they you know, you go on 3 more generations, your blood, the Black person gone.
Mm. Well, and you know, people do what they do, right? I'm not tripping that. What I'm saying is, I think that there's a promotion of that going on.
It is.
And as much as anything, that's where the challenge is. That's where the problem is, because you're promoting my disappearance as opposed to allowing whatever natural interactions to occur between people. You're promoting my eradication, my extermination, whatever you might call it.
Extinction, right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Many of us, you know, we're not, nobody's teaching us that. Who's talking about that kind of stuff, right? I'm out to dinner with a couple last night, and they just kind of wanted to, you know, so me and my wife, we went and hung out, downtown and went out to dinner, had some drinks, and so many of us, men do it, women do it, but so many people seem to think or embrace these ideas that, well, black men are da 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 da, or black women da 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 da, right? And in reality, it's not a black man or black woman issue. It's a people issue.
It is humanity.
Right? So there are people who lack integrity. There are people who cheat. It's not germane to, like one group does not have a monopoly on that. There are people who are of good character and bad character, regardless male or female, right? But many of these people with these the largest platforms, they're pushing these narratives as if one group or the other is so far gone on this, like they're beyond redemption. Black women are beyond redemption when it comes to being wives and good mothers. Like some men have sworn off of black women, and then you have groups of black women that have sworn off of black men, and there's so much being poured into that ideology that I think that's as much part of the extinction process or the extermination process as anything. I think a lot of these people are paid agents.
I think so too.
And I think they're being paid to push these different ideas that many of us are embracing. I don't believe for one second that some of these actors and actresses that take on these roles, from blaxploitation, like OG just mentioned, to, I don't want to say Esther Rolle, because what I appreciate about Esther Rolle was that if it wasn't for her, James Evans would have never been on the show, because they wanted her to do that show as a single mother, living in the projects, no man.
And she refused.
She said, I won't do the show unless you give me a husband.
Yep.
Right. Now that's powerful.
Yep.
Not well known for that part.
Yep.
But, those are the types of stances that have to be taken in order for us to kind of push back against these efforts to sow dysfunction into our community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's even going so far. I'm even seeing it, and I know this is kind of a sidebar, but even with real estate, how they're able to come in, take their money, and keep another family that you've been knowing down the street that couldn't wait to get in your house because they watched your house when they were growing up. I had this situation happen. A couple was retiring, getting ready to go to Florida, and they had a family down the street that wanted their house so bad. They watched this house when they were kids. Their parents had gone on to glory, and they were like, one day we're gonna own that house. Got to the place where the house was now on sale, and these people come down. They were like, well, we understand, but these white folk over here offering us a little bit more money. And we're talking about a little bit more money. We're talking about $100,000 over. And so these people in this household, in these working class people, couldn't come with $100,000 over, right? They had to be like, man, we couldn't. We've been renting this house, because my parents, they took on a mortgage that we couldn't pay, so now we was renting it. Now we can't own in the same neighborhood that we grew up in because somebody was coming in to. Yeah, so it's deeper than what we know it to be.
Yeah, you can own, you just can't own that house.
Right. Yeah. And so, like she said, that's what made me think of is when Denise said across the board.
Yeah.
So I was something else I'm trying to bring up my notes here. Man,
we went all the way off the rails with Denim and Diamonds, right? But
I know. So, this all going in the same thing with the classes.
It is.
You being able to marry, you being married, you marrying, like, that's really what it is. It's a class.
You see, now, if you look at what marriage used to be, now we marry for love, right? But it's always been, originally anyway, I don't even know about originally, but I'll say that marrying for love and for romance is a recent thing. Yeah. It's a modern thing, like the last couple hundred years maybe. But prior to that, it was a business arrangement.
I want to say within the last 50 years.
So you wouldn't have this Denim and Diamonds idea, 500 years ago, because marriage wasn't about who you loved. It was about families, and you know, it was a merger. Basically, it was the business of love, right? So you're going to get married for business, and if you happen to be able to work it out where you can love each other, fall in love, and all that good stuff, then great. But the marriage was a merger, which is essentially what the root word of marriage is. It's to merge. So,
and which is why some of us who, you know, some Black women who are independent, if you will, I can't understand why my grandmother stayed with my granddaddy, because she understood that's what they came together for. They came together for betterment. And that's how our communities thrived, is us making sure that we could go from one class to another, instead of us worrying about cross-class relationships or not wanting to be with somebody that doesn't have more than us. We started at the bottom. Now we on top. That's how it was.
When you talk about 80% two-parent households, and you know, at least 80% of us, more really, were were poor, right? I mean, we didn't have a middle class for the most part. You were either rich or you were poor,
right?
So we were marrying in many regards back then for survival. So there was no leaving just because I didn't like you. But the problem with that was that many of those arrangements were not healthy. You know, there was a lot of abuse going on, and well, there was some abuse going on. There was a lot of, you know, cheating going on. There was some very dysfunctional, unhealthy relationships. And what else could it be? I mean, you're talking about our culture being interrupted by 300-400 years worth of tragedy, right? Holocaust. So we tried to produce love out of those broken pieces that we were left with, right? Starting in 1865. So I think, and then nobody got therapy. So what choice did you have but to be dysfunctional? But that's true. We made the best out of a bad situation. And now here we are, where women are in an empowered state, if you want to call it empowered, where they're financially capable of sustaining themselves. And so now women don't have to stay during in a situation that they don't want to be in, right? So in order for relationships to work today, we got to actually relate, right? My wife right now, she's here because we actually relate well. But if things went south, I mean, she'd be all right if she left, right? She could take half of everything and she don't have to be here. And she would not be in poverty if she left me. See?
But look at this. What did that take? That took her to be patient. Because the reason why I'm bringing this part up is this. Women nowadays who can sufficiently, independently take care of their financial selves are asking our men who have been taught not to nurture, to ignore your emotions, you know, simps cry, you not a man if you show your emotions, to be, forget, baby, don't worry about that money, just come with me because we're gonna be okay, just come and love on me. You're asking them to go against the grain of how they've been wired. Okay, so then when you don't care about the money, which is what they care about, because they have been taught to equate their manhood with how much money they're making. So if they're not making as much money as her, and she's coming in with all this money, she's got the power, so to speak. Oh my goodness, they're going one little net.
Don't let it throw you off your square, sis.
I know. So she's got the power, so to speak, right? And so then she's expecting him. I just want him to love me. He is not in his wiring. He cannot focus on that because he's goal-oriented innately. He's innately taught that you go out, you provide, you go out and make the money, you go out and do what you need to do, man, right? And then when you take this woman who can do it herself, who don't even want to ask him to unscrew the pickle jar because she can't do it, she just gonna go buy one of them doohickeys and turn it herself. Instead of says, babe, can you come and open the pickle jar? She can't be a little coy because she just got to do it herself. So you're asking him to go against his wiring. And a lot of women are not paying attention to that. So what? You got the money. So what? You can pay for your own meal. Let him do it. Even if it's at the 3-star restaurant and it's out at the 5-star restaurant, and you normally take these lavish vacations because that's what you've been doing while you were single and living your best life. And so now you meet this man, which is why you won't you won't go cross-classing, if you will, or marrying or relating down. Instead, you need to just let him be the man. And a lot of women are not paying attention to that. So we got to understand the dynamics of this independent Black woman, superwoman syndrome is working against us.
Yeah.
Because it's asking our men to do something that they weren't wired to do. So much so that the scripture says, husbands, love your wives. When you have to mandate something, I say this all the time. You go into your work and you find a new paper on the wall talking about don't put the aluminum foil in the microwave. You like, okay, who would do that? Somebody did it. Because that's why they got the letter up there, because somebody did it. Right. So we have to pay attention to the fact that if there's a now post say husbands love your wives, scripture says husband love, there's going to be something wired in him that's going to tell him, no, this is my love. I love by paying the bills. I love by cutting the grass. I love by taking the garbage out. I love that. That's what love. And then the father said, no. Do it this way, sacrificially. Well, what does that mean? That means sacrifice the wiring to show her way. We're not paying attention to that. And the men don't know how to do that unless they've gone through the processes, unless they've gone through the channels to make sure that they can heal from some of the things they've been told when they were younger.
Wow.
It works against us.
So it should say, love your wives, and then in the very next verse it should say, wives, be lovable.
It does say honor your husband. Wives, honor your husband. It does say that.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that. And again, they're good at papers. Why you put it on the paper? Because the father knew that the woman would have a problem with that.
But part of the challenge that we're facing too is that our community is the least self-sufficient community in the country. So in the white community, white people produce more jobs for white people than anyone outside of their community can produce for white people.
Yeah. In
the Asian community, the Asians are more responsible for employing more Asians than anybody outside of the Asian community is employing Asians. Yeah. Same thing with Hispanics. We are the only demographic, we are the only ethnic group who is not primarily responsible for employing ourselves more than people outside of our group employ us. So we have to look to other groups to not only, let me say it this way, we are looking to other groups to not only employ themselves, but also employ us, because we're not employing our own group. Now, that's not happening in a vacuum. Much of what we built has been destroyed. And if we had been left to our own vices, then we would be providing more jobs for ourselves, just like every other group is. So I'm saying all that to say this: when you find the $10 billion offer to Black women by Goldman Sachs, when you find that Black women are, in many regards, fending for themselves, it's not because Black men are innately inept, unable, incompetent. It's because so much of what we've built and so much of what we've tried to establish has been destroyed by our very own government, that we keep having to reset and keep having to reset generation after generation after generation. And in every reset, something is lost.
Yeah.
You don't get that continuity of, grandfather passing down to his son, down to his grandson, and so on. Everybody, we got so many families that are starting from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And other groups aren't having to start from scratch every generation the way we've had to. So this creates scenarios where our women aren't able to rely on us as much as other groups women are relying on them. Right. It's not an organic. Look, our beef ain't organic. I say this all the time. It's manufactured.
Not. It is.
It's manufactured. So
yeah, we've been saying that for we're fighting a narrative that we didn't create.
Yeah.
You know, so listen, they said that people with working class roots wanted to go with the flow. She did this survey, this research, where she found this information. And what she found was people with working class roots wanted to go with the flow and see what happened, meaning that they didn't, plan for the future. They didn't save for retirement. They just, check the check, which is how a lot of us are in our community are living, right? A lot of people in our community are living, check the check. But spouses with middle class backgrounds wanted to manage their resources by planning, meaning that those backgrounds they came from, that they watched their parents go check the check, they typically fell into that. Some of them skated from that and then said they didn't want to live that way, but then they end up in a better position, but they still wanted to manage because they want to control those resources. As with people with more money, they kind of like people with more money want to manage it, and people with less money want to just kind of go with the flow because they don't have enough to be able to allocate to different things. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you believe that that people with working class roots tend to go with the flow and people with middle class manage more, or look into trying to figure out how to manage more?
So I've been having this discussion. It's ironic that you would ask me that question, but I've been having this discussion lately where I think it's a law of averages, right? So, and every group has their average, their own averages. So let's say, for instance, in the Asian community, the education is highly stressed, right? So they have a higher tendency to do well in school, like math and the sciences. They kicking butt across the board. Is it because they're naturally smarter than everybody else, naturally more gifted? No, I don't think so. I think that whatever is stressed or emphasized in your community, that's what you're going to have a higher average of achieving, right?
Right.
So for a long time in our community, love was the theme, right? And so it was hard to find people who loved each other or who had more loving relationships than what we had, because love was the thing. I mean, it was the Isley brothers. It was, there was a vibe about Black love back in the day that nobody could rival what we had. Now, we didn't have much more than that.
Right.
But boy, nobody could love like Black folk. Nobody loved their children like Black folk. Like, it was just, it's what we did, right?
Right.
So, and now with Hispanics, for instance, they have a high work ethic. Right. But again, you got to consider origins, where they're coming from. Many of them are coming from Mexico and would love nothing more than an opportunity to just be here to make, to make an honest wage rather than. So if they could make 50 grand here in the United States, man, that's a far cry from what they were able to do in Mexico. So then their average that shows up here as far as work ethic, being entrepreneurs, whether it's doing lawn care or whatever, their average in that area is going to be higher than maybe our average in that area, because our experience and our motivations are different. Right. So I think that ultimately it comes down to what is promoted most amongst your group. And that's what your averages are going to be more in alignment with. Does that make sense?
Yes. Basically, birds of a feather flock together.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah. So if you are around people that are planners, then you're going to do the same thing, because you want to keep what you have. But you're around people that go with the flow and they're not trying to do better with their lives, then you're going to find yourself stuck in that same place.
Well, so here's the point, I guess. The larger point is that the flow, in that example that you use, if you're around planners, then the flow is we plan. And everybody around us plans. So if you're going to go with the flow, then you by default are a planner.
Yeah.
You see? And but right now, much of what our flow is dysfunction. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. And so if it ain't nothing else among us, we got a whole lot of chaos.
Whole lot.
right? And so our flow, our average, unfortunately, isn't a very productive one in many regards. So, and of course, there's always going to be a number of us that are doing well despite the odds. But again, what I'm saying is that to go with the flow is going whatever your group flow is going to be is going to dictate
the flow.
Yeah, dictate the outcomes. Yeah.
What is your thoughts on this? Factors such as personality or education can give one person an edge over another, leading to the stronger personality or more highly educated person having more power in the relationship.
Read that again, please.
Factors such as personality or education can give one person an edge over another, leading to the stronger personality or more highly educated person having more power in the relationship.
You know, to me, it sounds like another thing that pits one against the other.
Yeah.
Like the relationship is a competition rather than a cooperative effort.
Right.
Look, I'll be the first to admit that there are, even with as smart as some people like to tell me that I am, and I think I'm okay, right? I think I'm at least average, maybe even a notch above average, right? I'm not afraid to admit that in many regards, like my wife is silent. She don't say a whole lot, but in many ways, she's smarter than I am. That doesn't threaten me. That's an advantage for me.
Right.
Because if you think I'm smart, man, wait till you see what she's
doing.
And that makes our team stronger.
Right.
I'm not looking at her like, damn it, how dare you threaten me with your smart. Like,
right.
If you're on my team, like, that would be like Scottie Pippen getting mad at Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was as great as he was. No, man, we both own the Bulls. So that means if you win, I win.
Right. Right.
So when you have these different things where you're approaching a relationship from a standpoint of I'm more powerful than he is or than she is, my personality is better and shines brighter. I think those are divisive perspectives rather than complementary or even harmoniously congruent, if I could pull that $5 word out, right? So, yeah.
And that's why it works really well when you talk about all money is our money.
Yeah, all money in.
Yeah. So when you start saying when you're trying to divvy up, like you're at a table with a whole bunch of friends and the check come and y'all looking and see how much you did. How much was the total? Is 1, 2, 3, 4 of y'all split it 4 ways.
Hey, look, if I had the onion rings, I ain't paying for nothing but the onion rings. No.
You know what?
I'm just playing.
Okay, with you, you be like,
Look, I paid for the whole check last night.
And sometimes, but you know what? Sometimes that may even be necessary in relationships for that person just to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm taking care of this. I got this. So that even when the person is making less, so that the person that's making more can say, oh, wow, so you in this with me. We in this together. Because if it doesn't come across that way, then people don't feel safe, which is one of the problems that is happening in our community and relationships. The man doesn't feel safe and supported. The woman doesn't feel safe and protected. So if we're sitting there fighting the same thing, all trying to get to safety, we're trying to get to the very same thing, and we're not paying attention to that.
Men and women, I'm gonna say this, and a lot of people ain't gonna agree with this, I know, because there's always something being promoted with how different men and women are, right? Men are logical, women are emotional. Men want the respect, and women want love. Like all these differences, and I'm saying that men and women aren't nearly as different as what's being advertised.
Right.
And I'm saying that men want respect, but women also want respect. Women want love. You show me a man that say he don't want to be loved, I'll show you a man that's either been hurt or he's lying.
Right.
Right? We all want love. We all want respect. We all want to be appreciated.
Right.
We all want to contribute. We're all looking to, like, we all have the same needs. They just might not be in the same order.
Right.
Right? So it's not until I got to that point in my life that I began to see my wife more as a reflection of myself rather than how different she might be. Sure, there are some differences. Like I might get to 10 by saying 5 plus 5. She might get to 10 by saying 20 minus 10. Right? But at the end of the day, I hate that. When it's all said and done, we all have a method of coming up with a constructive idea.
Right.
We all have the ability to come up with constructive ideas and ways to be productive people. So, and we don't want very different things, just maybe, like I said, in different orders or maybe different or varying amounts, etc. So I think that if we began to look at each other more as a reflection of ourselves rather than looking at somebody that's totally different. Oh, women just they just this, and men, oh, they just no, not really. We're not opposites, we're complements.
Right. Like what is when you think of a situation in your relationship, you know, and you're going through something, how do you think, step outside of yourself, how do you think your partner would think, feel, or respond? Yep. And if you start to think that way, how would they think, feel, or respond? And if how about this? If you can't come up with an answer, you don't know your partner enough, and then you need to start doing some more researching on your partner.
Yeah.
But if you can step back and say, they would respond this way, they would say that way, they would feel this way. Now you can take yourself out of the situation and start being understanding, then seeking always to just be understood. That is one of our major issues. Everybody want to say me, look at me, instead of somebody saying, put your hand down, man, put your hand down, woman. Let me figure you out. Let me pay attention to you. Let me think on how I can help you. Because if you are helping me and I am helping you, everybody getting helped. If I'm loving you and you're loving me, everybody getting love. If I'm respecting you and you're respecting me, everybody getting respect. We are so busy going, no, respect me. It's about mine. And you better treat me the way I want to be treated. How about I treat you the way you need to be treated, not the way I want to be treated, because we don't even know how to treat ourselves. We don't know how to love ourselves. We don't know how to respect ourselves and value ourselves. If we learn how to value other people, first value ourselves and then value other people, then everybody being taken care of. But we're so busy wanting me. The me, we got the me movement going. All this different stuff to make it selfish. Now, I want to be clear. You've got to be in a position, doesn't have to be selfish, to love yourself first so that you can ultimately learn how and know how to love your partner. But you have to do it in a way that it doesn't overpower, for lack of better terms. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, so it's but we're too busy. Nobody's willing to put the work in, and that's the problem.
Look, consider this. What if we showed up to relationships? Like everybody's looking to make their lives better. That's the purpose of a relationship, right? To enhance the human experience. Like I'm not naive to that. So the primary reason that I'm with my wife is because it makes my life better. Right? I'm selfish like that. Right? But in the very next breath, I say, man, how can I serve? How can I also make your life better?
Yes.
Not just thank you for making my life better. No, what can I do to make your life better? And imagine if everybody showed up with that type of interest in mind. Like, yeah, of course I'm here for me. I'm here to make my life better. If you're not making my life good, I really don't want to be around you.
Right.
If you're not adding to, right? But I'm also in the very next breath saying, how can I serve? How can I make your life better? Imagine doing that.
Man, that would be off the chain.
Invested in making each other's lives better. Like it don't get any better than it. It don't get any better than that.
I love how the word you use, serve. Think of it this way. If you go into a restaurant, that was perfect. That was perfect. You go into a restaurant and your server comes over, sits at your table like you at Ed the Bevick's, start eating your food, drinking on your drink, talking about, you go in the kitchen and get my food. instead of bringing it to you with a smile, with knowing that they care, knowing everything about what you're about to ask, knowing the ins and outs of what you're about to eat on, knowing how to serve you regardless if they got a tip from the last person, tip, i.e. bad relationship from the last person, they're still going to go to that next table with that same. If you did not get the service, you would either walk out, not tip them, call the manager, and go on Yelp and tell everybody about it, right? Yep. It's the same way.
Watch this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, let's use that same server analogy, right? Now, we both have a mutual interest in seeing each other. I want you to serve me, and he's looking forward to a nice tip.
Yeah.
He or she, whoever the server is, right? Imagine if you came in, sat down to eat your food, and then the server sat down and said, "Can I go ahead and get that tip?" He didn't take your order. He didn't serve. He didn't do anything for you. But he want that tip, right? That's not cool. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Yes.
I sit down, you give me great service, I give you a great tip. We both walk away happy.
Yes.
Fulfilled.
Yes.
Satisfied.
Yes.
Right? That's all a relationship is. It's supposed to be a mutually beneficial arrangement. It's not necessarily equal giving.
Yes.
But the sacrifice should be equivalent.
Yes.
Right? My wife ain't gonna give me as much money as I give her, but I can't match what she gives me.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't trade.
Yes.
I'm selfish enough to know that I'm winning. Like, even though I'm the one giving the majority of the money, what I get in return, I can't pay enough for that. You dig what I'm saying? So it as long as we begin to see these relationships as mutually beneficial arrangements rather than how can I scratch my own itch and I walk away and leave you still itching.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're gonna come up short.
And think about it, going in the server, piggybacking a little bit more. When you go to get that service, you're looking for that server. And that server can't wait to see you again because you done tipped real nice. It's the same thing in relationships. When you are giving to your partner in such a way where Vaun is talking about, you can't wait to get home to them. You can't wait to them to get home to you. You're looking forward to that. But we got to get to the place where we're not self-serving.
Yeah. Ooh.
You want to go to a buffet and see how nasty the food gonna be. Go to the buffet and wonder if it's gonna be clean. Go to the buffet and see other people putting their fingers in your stuff. Y'all didn't get that, did y'all?
Hey, they got a sneeze guard up there for a reason.
Huh?
I said they got that they have that sneeze guard or that spit guard up there for a reason at the buffet.
Y'all want people with their hands in your stuff, and y'all want people sneezing on your stuff. So it's just, man, it was something that that Yarley said.
He asked me, do I thank my wife for making me a sandwich? And I look, as corny as it might sound, she's been making me a sandwich for 33 years. And I thank my wife every damn time that she does something for me. And not every time that she does something for me, because there are times where even I can have a lapse, right? But she'll tell you if she's listening to the show, I show my wife appreciation for damn near everything. I don't take anything that she does for me for granted.
That's key. And that's the thing that a lot of the men are having a problem with nowadays. And whatever little that they're doing, that they're not getting the appreciation, and vice versa. The woman's feeling like, well, shoot, I'm the one. There's this TikTok going around where the man is yelling at her and she walks up to him. Don't you ever talk to me like that. I'm the one that bring life through these legs. Something like that, she says. But so we're thinking that what we're bringing to the table is much greater than what the other person is doing because it doesn't look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Stop looking for it to look like the same thing. It's not going to look like that's where I was going. Yarley says that men express their love by providing resources, security, and protecting their families. We cannot love like women. They will never. If your man is loving like you, wonder if he's just like you.
May as well have a girlfriend. You know,
If he doing it,
look,
girl, you better check.
my wife just said, yes, you do, and I appreciate you for it. Look,
Yes.
now that's one thing that she's good at. So if I work overtime, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking for her approval or for her to put a battery in my back for that. I'm doing that because it, if the opportunity presents itself and I want to do a little overtime, I'm gonna do it because it puts us in a better situation, right? Puts us in a better position. And without fail, she'll be like, man, I really appreciate, what you do, the sacrifices you make, blah, blah, blah. That, even though I'm not looking for it, she put that little battery in my back and I, rub my shoulders, you know what I mean? So I can go back out here and fight again. Rub my shoulders, And I think that even as much as I like to think that I don't take her for granted. Now, there are probably times that I might not say thank you or, whatever. I don't know. She said I do, so maybe she feels good about that. But to the best of my ability, I try to be appreciative. I try to express my appreciation, and she does a good job of it too. And I think, like I like to say that it's not we're not doing good because we do extraordinary things. We're doing good because we do ordinary things more consistently than most people. And showing somebody appreciation is not extraordinary.
Right.
This is an ordinary thing. You say thank you to complete strangers. Why wouldn't you be able to say thank you to your own wife or husband?
Or boyfriend, girlfriend, if y'all ain't made it that way yet. Yeah. It is. I mean, you got to pay attention. So many people are trying to love their partners, their mates, their husband, their wife, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, the way that they do, rather than finding out how your partner love whoever your significant other needs to have that love. Is it words of affirmation? This is real, y'all. Some people don't believe in the 5 love languages, but it's real. Whether you put a title on it or not, how does your person love? How do they need to be loved? They may not ever need a gift, ever. They just may need you to say thank you. And that would just, like you said, put a power back, superpower. They became the Hulk.
Charge me up.
Charged. Or they may say, you know what, man, you haven't brought me anything for, I didn't get no gifts, nothing. And it could be something so small as a little candle. The fact that you took out your time, your energy, and you thought of them, whatever that case is, you've got to start to think about that. And a lot of people are not, I'm going to love you the way I love you. No, then you're going to be single.
Yeah.
Or miserable. One. Which one? One of the two.
Yeah.
So.
Look, I don't put gas in my car because I like the way gas tastes. Right? I put gas in my car because my car needs gas.
Yeah.
Right. If I buy my wife chocolate to show her how much I appreciate her, she may look at it and appreciate the gesture, even if she doesn't like chocolate. Yeah. So I can have the greatest intention. I can say, let me give my wife some chocolates. But if she don't like chocolate, then it doesn't quite hit the spot the way that I meant to hit the spot. Right. So I'm buying these chocolates and she's going to say, thank you, I appreciate that. But those chocolates are probably going to sit on the shelf. But if I buy her something that she really likes, like strawberries, wife loves. Now, if I give her some chocolate covered strawberries, now that's going to hit the spot.
Right.
And then she will not only be appreciative, but she'll get to enjoy the fruit of my spirit, for lack of a better term, right?
Yes.
And it resonates a whole lot deeper because I was thoughtful enough to not just give her something, but to give her something that she can feel.
That she can feel. And that's the thing. If you are doing something consistently and it's based off of what you want to do, ask yourself, is this what you want? Even it's nothing wrong with, and I tell my clients this all the time, check in with your spouse, your significant other. Ask them, is what I'm doing making you feel loved? If what I'm doing is not making you feel loved, then I need to make some adjustments. And if you're not making adjustments, then there's a problem. if you just want to keep throwing it, well, I'm just going to do it the way. No, check in. Because when you check in to see, did I do something last week that hurt you, that I didn't know about? Check in. You know, how can I make you feel more comfortable with me? Check in. We have gotten to the place of I'm grown. Like that term to me is kind of like an antidote for people wanting to be lackadaisical or wanting to be mediocre in their relationships. I'm grown. I don't need no help from nobody. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I don't. If you're so grown, then you should have a healthy, long-lasting, happy relationship because you already got all the keys. But if you're really grown, then you're going to know that something's wrong and you need some help to get it done. And if you then that real grown, you get it done and you get some help. And so you learn the keys and you start to implement those keys and do what you need to do. Now you're grown.
Yeah. You know, we'll never have it the way our grandparents had it, right? Because the landscape is different. And I don't want it to quite return to what it was anyway back then.
Yeah,
but
I was about to say, I don't really want that.
Nah, but I think that so much of whether we're able to stay together or not is going to depend on how well we relate to one another.
Yeah.
It's not going to, people are not staying together just because it's the right thing to do. People ain't doing that no more.
Not no more.
Either I feel good when I'm around you or I'm not around you.
Right.
That's what it is nowadays. And so even that's not the most challenging scenario. Like, what happened to boy meets girl, boy likes girl, girl likes boy, and we treat each other well, right? That was what I just said in my status earlier. Like, we can treat each other well. And I think that has the potential, especially when you understand how, man, I mean, you could tell it better than I can, to be single in this day and age. I mean, it's not easy. It's tough out here to find somebody that, you know, that matches your fly, that complements your spirit, that you know, that match your swag. It ain't easy. So if you have somebody already, you already ahead of the game. Right. All you have to do is learn how to relate to that person, you know, in a healthier way.
And it should not be based on the class. It should not be based on what they have or what they don't have. Because if you can come together and be harmonious together with each other, then you can ultimately get what you're lacking as far as the financial and the things that are external and in your relationship. Mm-hmm. Anything outside of yourselves, house, car, money, if you come together in unification, you can obtain those things together. Scripture says it. I think that don't quote me. Two can chase thousands, 10,000s. You know what I'm saying? So two heads are better than one. Not scripture. It's not good for man to be alone. Scripture. We can go back and forth through the natural and the spiritual realm of the things and understand that it is better for two to be together. And once you can find the harmony in being together, which is what we talk about, creating conversations that create harmony. If you can find the harmony, everything else can be got.
We were happier when we had less.
Man.
Our community, I think, to a large degree, was a healthier place to be when we had less.
Yeah.
Before we had the Benzes and the BMWs and the those are nice, but we have those.
Yarley said.
We have those now, and we don't even have each other anymore in many regards. So, you know, I don't think the answer is in that bag.
It's not. It's
anyway,
not. Because the bag can go away, right? So listen, if y'all haven't already do so, make sure that you go over to Vaun conditionsoflove.com. Is theconditionsoflove.com to pick up Vaun and Desi's book called 31 Days of Conditions of Love. Is that am I
31
right?
days. 31 days to
where you book it?
Oh, where my book at? Shameless plug. 31 days to mastering your relationship. The Heart Work book, written by yours truly, me and my beloved Desiree.
Yes, go over and pick up that book. It's going to help you in 31 days. You're going to be in a greater position than you were the first day. So go over and get that book. If you're looking for some help with your confidence, learning how to deal with rejection. Rejection saved my life. 15 transformational keys on using rejection as fuel. Fuel stands for, it's an acronym that stands for faith upgraded to exponential levels. Go over to www.coachmichelamonè.com. Pick up that book. I'll send it out with some goodies in the bag. So listen, if you we always talk about, make sure that you are subscribing to all of our pages. Coach Vaun at Vaun-The Love Alchemist on all social media platforms, including TikTok. His and Her Perspective on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Coach Michelamonè on all social media platforms, including TikTok, and ATR on all social media platforms, all things relevant. Make sure that you are subscribing to all of those pages and hitting the red bell on the YouTube page so that you can get notifications of any of the videos that we're going to be dropping upcoming. We're going to be making some changes coming up, so stay tuned to that. For next week, in the middle of the week, we'll let you know how that's going to go. But we really want to make sure that we are giving you the updated information and things that you want us to talk about. So if it's something that you want us to discuss, please make sure that you go ahead and email us at harmony@hisandherperspective.com so that we can discuss that. If you want Coach Vaun and myself, or Coach Vaun or myself to coach you, reach out to either harmony@hisandherperspective.com for both of us, or our perspective pages on the DMs, so that we can reach out and help you with whatever challenges that you're having in your relationships. Because that's what we're all about. We really want to make sure that you are doing well in the things that you need to do well in. Let me go ahead and drop my stuff in here while Coach Vaun.
I just shared the YouTube page. So that's
okay.
I guess I should have shared our websites too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my fault.
You're doing it now?
Yeah. That was sure is Coach Michelamonè.
Yes. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you. For those who are going to be watching the replay, we appreciate you. Please make sure that you're commenting, and sharing. Thank you so much, Desi, for that. Thank you, Yarly, for that. We appreciate you all. Make sure that you all are going ahead and I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. It just froze. Oh, sharing, because sharing is caring. I was trying to get this because it's only going onto your page. It's not going out.
I don't know why.
See.
Maybe because I just got out of jail and they're not letting me have full access.
That's okay. Let's see. Yours is
I was not a good citizen this week, family. So
yours is www.the conditions of love, right?
Yeah, www.theconditionsoflove.com. Yeah. I wasn't a good citizen this week, fam. So they punished you, man.
There we go. And then I was trying to get our YouTube page. Y'all can find us on YouTube as his YouTube. I'm just going to put this in there because I don't know that we haven't gotten. If y'all can help us get to 100 subscribers, which we're not that far off, we can get our own URL for YouTube, but we're not there yet. Okay. Yeah. So it's the His and Her Perspective show. James
said he in jail too.
You say what?
James
he in jail too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You. Let's see here. So we appreciate that. Thank you all so very much. He said, sign Danielle. Oh, that was Danielle. Okay. Danielle is in jail. So she's looking from James's page. They watch it together every week. This couple, our couple that we coach together, they watch our show. And they learn a lot from our show. So we really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. So you want to get us on out of here, brother?
Yo, y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with us. And for that, we are eternally thankful. We love y'all.
We love you.
Peace.
Bye.